Don't allow your beliefs around business failure to prevent you from claiming the financial future you deserve or starting the business you've always wanted to start. My name is Peter Sage, and on this video, I'm going to share with you the #1 roadblock that stops people dead in their tracks when it comes to becoming entrepreneurs or starting the business that they want to start, and how you can deal with it. Now, when it comes to not starting a business, many people use the following excuses. They don't have the money, they don't think they have the experience, the economy's not right, they don't have the product or service or the right people, all of that stuff. Now, most of the time, that is an excuse that is generated to avoid something much deeper, and that is the fear of failure. Now, the challenge with the fear of failure is that it's linked to the primary human fear, which is the fear we're not enough. And if you are linking business failure or the prospect of business failure to personal failure, then you are always going to be stopped dead in your tracks when it comes to thinking about starting a business. And the reason for that is if you're confusing your self-worth with your net worth, then there's not a lot of places to go to try to get over that. Now, what I want to share is a couple of different ways to hold failure that have allowed me to become very successful over the last 30 years of starting businesses, making mistakes that have cost me millions and millions of dollars, and bouncing back stronger each time. And it's got nothing to do with how smart I am or what resources I've got. It has everything to do with my attitude towards failure. And I want to share with you some of the keys that I have, so hopefully it can help you too. Now, a lot of this started when I was 25 years old. And I just bought my first Ferrari. It was a gleaming red Testarossa. It had a number plate that said A1 Sage, which may have said A1 Ego, but hey, I was 25 at the time. And I nicknamed the car Kleenex. And the reason for that is because everybody used to spit at it. And if I'd go and park it in a restaurant car park and go for a meal, I'd come back and somebody would have put a key down it. And this is in England, where a lot of people, again, are scared of failure. And therefore, they tend to be somewhat resentful a lot of the time from people that have actually got through that. And they think they may be lucky, or, they were born with rich parents, or whatever the excuses are. I've heard many of them. And I flew to America a few months later. I was doing some work there. And I just landed in Orlando. I was driving about 2 o'clock in the morning. I got an early start the next day. I wanted to find a motel to get my head down and get some sleep. And I pull up in what I could only describe as a pretty poor part of town, kind of a Bates Motel kind of area. And in front of me was this gleaming red Ferrari Testarossa, just like mine. And I went in to sign the register and get the keys, and there was a gentleman in there wearing this jacket, kind of a Ferrari jacket. And I said, "Excuse me, is that your car outside?" He says, "Yes, it is." I says, "Are you parking it here tonight?" He said, "Yeah, why?" I says, "Well, I have the same car in England, and if I parked it in this side of town, I'd be worried that somebody would damage it." And what he said next really shifted my understanding of the different cultural aspects around failure. And he says, "Oh no," he said, "I've had far more people come up and ask me how I got it than that I ever want to do damage to it." And that blew me away. I started noticing that specifically in countries like America, where 400 years ago, everybody was even and you basically got ahead on merit. Whereas 400 years ago in England, if you weren't part of the lucky sperm gang and Lord of the Manor, doesn't matter how smart you were, you would never be able to get out of that position. And I started to notice that in America, a lot of people saw failure as just a rung on the ladder towards success. I've had people, good friends of mine, that wouldn't lend money to people that were looking to start a business if they hadn't at least been bankrupt once. You don't want to learn your lessons with my money. Wait till you've learned it with somebody else's, and then I'll back you. That is a completely different perspective to people who are paralyzed by the fear of failure. Let me give you another analogy. If I was to say to you that the 5th person that you would ask out is going to be your absolute dream relationship. It's going to give you so much joy. It's going to light you up. You're going to have the best sex, whatever it may be, that's your ideal relationship. Some people are going to turn around and say, "Oh, that's it. I'm not going to go through 4 rejections or 4 failed relationships. I'm going to stay single and lonely for the rest of my life." Well, no, of course you're not going to say that. You can say, "How fast can I get through those 4 so I can get to number 5? Similarly, if I said to you that the third business, which statistically is the one that becomes the most successful for people, that gives them that financial freedom, is the one that's going to take you to the moon, what are you going to say? Oh, I don't want to go through 2 business failures. I'm going to stay poor and work for somebody else for the rest of my life. No, if you understood that failure is your capital, that is what gives you the edge. That's what allows you to move forward. Famous story from Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, one of the biggest companies in the world, International Business Machines. And it's a famous story where a sales guy in the 1960s made a colossal mistake that cost an account that was worth $1 million to IBM. And Tom Watson calls him into the office, and of course the sales rep thinks he's going to get fired. And he walks in and Tom Watson says, "Do you know why you're here?" And the guy says, "Well, it just cost you $1 million. I'm going to get fired." And Tom Watson says, "Fire you? It just cost me $1 million to train you. I just want to make sure you understand what the lessons are so you don't make them again." That's a completely different way of looking at how we make mistakes. And think about it, in school, we usually get more from the wrong answers than we do the right answers. We're not here to get it perfect. So when it comes to failure, what is your relationship to it? If you can't handle rejection because your self-worth and your net worth are tied together and you think that that's going to reflect bad on you, then you're never going to start the business. If you want to recession-proof your life, if you want to become impervious to the fear of failure, if you want to be like, hey, bring it on. Bearing in mind, we're not going to take anything with us at the end of this game. So how much joy do you want to have playing the game? And ironically, it's the attitude like that that usually allows you to have more success than failure. You see, history always has and always will favor the risk taker, but those that risk the least often end up with the least. It's just that your brain won't show you that if you're linking your self-worth and net worth together. Now, I've spent 30 years building international companies. Some have been tremendous global success stories. Some should have stayed ideas when I was drunk. I've had weeks where we've done incredible business, and I've had days where I've lost more money than most people earn in a lifetime. And through all of that, it's been an amazing adventure. And I'd love to be able to show you how to have that mindset so that you can go live the life you were born to live. If that resonates, if you'd like to learn how to recession-proof, failure-proof, become impervious to rejection and failure so you can go out and swing the bat, click the link below. I'd love to share some more resources with you so that you can go play the game of life on your terms, not be worried about what you think other people think of you if you fail. How's that sound? Click the link below and get ready to learn some amazing techniques I'm going to share with you on how you can live the life of your dreams, impervious to failure.